Right. And I'll come to you, Speaker, but before I do so, Honorable Mbui, there's a quote here of the Deputy President that nimewapatia vijana shilingi milioni 1 na kina mama pia shilingi milioni 1. Mtapangwa vizuri ili mpewe kesho munue biashara yenu. One would say it's a noble initiative to support the common mwananchi of there could be some needs to boost their businesses, but the question of sustainability, but also the fairness of the play field, how do you resolve that? And what is your experience on the ground when you're dealing with the constituents of Kathiani? Do you have to carry with you bundles of cash to dish out or to support businesses, or how do you woo them?
Actually, the most interesting thing is that there is a law against that, because this is voter bribery. Not the other bill that we are talking about was to do with the amount of money one can spend. And even if you are allowed to spend, there's only specific things you can spend the money on. You can maybe fuel your vehicles, maybe give a small allowance to your supporters, those that spend the day with you. But voter bribery is illegal in Kenya. And voter bribery is when you go and talk to people in a marketplace and tell them, here, I have given you $1 million to lift your businesses, and it's coming from your pocket. That's voter bribery, because you're influencing their decision in the next election to vote for you. So in fact, what the Deputy President is doing is already against the law. And I'll give you an example. Honorable Moses Wetangula was actually someone took a petition to court, and he went back to an election because of voter bribery. Why? Because he actually met people and gave them money, I think, or bought them a cup of tea. And so I'm surprised how the double standards that this country actually practices, because this is open voter bribery. We have it in the newspaper here on Standard, page 8.
So is it
somebody holding... It's voter bribery because you're giving money.
Just hold on. Is it voter bribery in court, or it's outright? Because he says that he's supporting their businesses.
But that's what bribery is. I mean, it's not your place to support people's businesses. You are seeking for an elective position, so you are inducing or enticing them to vote for you by giving them handouts. That is what is voter bribery. I mean, it's the same thing when Wetangula bought tea or gave them money for tea. He was sent back to go for a by-election. Why is it that it is now allowable? In fact, it is not. IEBC should have already flagged this and should have dealt with it.
But how would they do that? Because it's not yet official campaign season. It actually begins on the 30th of May 2022. Is IEBC responsible for what's going on between now and
I think IEBC are responsible for campaigns and elections in the whole country. And you know what? We have been doing campaigns from 2017, immediately after the handshake. From 2018, I think, after the handshake, DP went out and started campaigning. We've been on campaign mode since then. In fact, right now, you would think the elections are going to be held tomorrow. So the reality is that this is outrightly wrong. The reality, let me say this, Sam, I think we are also sending the wrong signal to the citizens of this country, that your government or your government leaders are supposed to be giving you money to uplift you. And the question that you need to ask yourself is, where does that money come from? The reality is that even the government's own money comes from taxpayers. It is we, the citizens, that pay the government money so that they can consolidate it and build for us roads, build for us schools, build for us probably hospitals. But when suddenly individuals say, now, the money we have as government, we're going to be giving it back to you, then what is the logic? How would you collect taxes from me and then give me back the money? So the reality is that this is illegal.
The second part of the question was, what's your experience and how do you vote?
My experience is that as long as the Deputy President is going out dishing money, he's already, making the citizens of the country expect money from all political leaders, because he's using this money even to entice crowds. The reality, we know crowds, as we said, their perception.
I'm not asking about what you experience. What is your experience?
My experience is that as long as someone is going around dishing out money, the people expect money from every politician. That's a reality. And I'm not talking about Kathiani only. No, I'm talking about even when you go to other places, there's always that expectation that you give them handouts. It's a reality.
Okay. How much do you give your voters in Kathiani?
You are not supposed to give any money. So
you are not supposed to.
I give them good projects under CDF. And I do some little support here and there when somebody is bereaved, and that kind of support. That kind of support we do. But we don't do handouts.
But in your competitors?
They probably will come with handouts because they are from UDA, so they're likely to be given money to be dishing out.
There's something you're not telling us, but it's within your right. But Speaker Kagusha, your reflections on this, because the police released a statement. It was that day that DP's motorcade was stoned in Kondele, causing some destruction to some vehicles, and they said that based on intelligence gathered, there was tension within Kondele owing to alleged distribution of campaign logistical funds amongst local groups. This intelligence was promptly shared by police with Deputy President's team with recommendations to skip the affected area during the tour, and they blame it squarely on these finances, and clearly it's causing some division, because I mean, human beings and money, they are not the best of friends with each other, never mind their historical relationships. How do you deal with this question, even as you respond to some of the issues that have been raised by the other panelists?
One of the things I would expect media, and even you some, to do is also to question some of these things. That statement coming from police, can you imagine the police of this Republic of Kenya excusing political chaos and political rallies disruption based on flimsy excuses which they're giving? Can you imagine that? Today we are preparing for an election and the police has the audacity to excuse the disruptions, and I have been seeing this is becoming now the trend, that if the Deputy President is going somewhere, some people are, you know, given something to go and disrupt the rallies. It has happened every other weekend and in every other place. And I know the CS in charge of Interior gave a directive the other day that there must be a crackdown. But I've seen photos, like I was seeing some photos yesterday, some videos. You can clearly see the face of the person who is doing it. And instead of arresting that person, you are saying that in fact you are the cause of that trouble yourself. You know, I think we are getting it wrong, and we seriously need to reconsider that approach as we are approaching the elections. My experience, there's one young man I met somewhere in Mkurueni, and I wondered why he was idling around in one of the shopping centers, and asked him, how comes these days you are no longer supplying kaimati like you used to do before? And he told me that his boda boda had broken down. His motorbike that he used to supply kaimati with across the area had broken down. And what I did is that I enabled this gentleman to take his motorbike to one of the motorbike repairers at Mkurueni town to have it repaired, to have it fixed. More often than not, I have met people who have challenges. Someone was probably doing a small business, and that business has gotten into headwinds, and they just require a very, very simple boost from you. Maybe they are selling watermelons. I had one recently who had a problem. They approached me, even one yesterday, who told me, you know, there's this cow I want to sell here because I'm having this challenge and that. I mean, we usually have those kind of challenges as politicians, or those kind of requests from time to time. And I think we don't need to be economical with the truth. Honorable Mbui here, even after we leave here, by the end of the day today, he will have spent not less than 20,000 shillings on his constituents. And it's not going to be on Matanga. Some of it is going to be just a mere boost of some kind.
He's not denying, so I don't know what.
Are you getting? He can't deny that. You know, he can't deny it. It is the truth. As a politician, you've got to also listen to the people who require assistance from you. And sometimes I look at this issue of William Ruto and I ask myself, is William Ruto the most richest politician in Kenya? Is he the richest person in this country? Do you have richer politicians in this country? Yes. The answer is yes. So why does he feel so obliged to participate in people's empowerment? Because what my brother here is calling voter bribery, we have no vote that is being cast now. Vote will be cast next year. William Ruto, for example, has been empowering people's businesses right from the word go. He has done this actually for the last 9 years, from the time he was elected on TNA, on the first arrangement of TNA that they had when URP and TNA came together. I mean, at that point when we had Jubilee arrangement in 2013, William Ruto was still empowering businesses. He was still going to church. He was still giving out money. He did it.
And does it bother you where this money is coming from? Because this is 2 million in Kitui, all right?
Yeah.
I think I saw some 2 million and 2.5 million in his store of Nyanza. That's about 4.5. So even if you had to use that in a period of 2 or 3 days, 6.5 million shillings, where is it coming from?
I mean, that's a question that you may not have to get an answer here. But the truth of the matter is, I know some of the people in this country are having a challenge between the old money and the new money. The old money is crying out. That's why is there new money? Where is this new money coming from? Are you getting? Because
do you mind to define what old money and new money is? For
old money is money that has been passed over the generations. You know, it's money that your grandfather or your father or your mom or your grandmom had, and it was passed on to you. Are you getting? And we have a lot of people in this country who have old money, but we also have new people who are now having new money. People who are really rich in this country, and it's happening all over. Even young people, there's some younger people now who are richer than Bill Gates in the world because they are making new money using new methods and technology and techniques. And the fact that a person feels obliged to share what they have with the lesser fortunate people in the society and in the community, I don't think they need to be put down on that. I don't think they need to really be harmed on that.
That is not what I'm saying. The question I'm asking you is about the source of this money, because if you look at the Campaign Financing Act, one of the intentions was to ensure that proceeds of crime, proceeds of economic crimes do not find their way into a political campaign. So when a citizen is asking the source of resources that are being shared in the campaign trail, I think it's a genuine question.
But let me ask you some. The Deputy President has been doing this for the last 9 years. The powers that be have been complaining about the source of money. Why haven't we used the institutions that exist if there has been any illicit supply of resources and money? Prof here is even trying to suggest like even something foreign. Why haven't we had a crackdown? Do you remember we changed the note in this country from the old note? Do you know what the reason was?
Well, your
guess is as good as mine.
You tell me.
But the issue is this. Yeah, some people had actually imagined and thought that if you change the note, hopefully we are going to stop the supply of boosting of businesses and empowerment of women and young people and old people and even men in the villages. But as it were now, that has not changed. So, and even some people have been saying, no, this guy, we are giving him up to, he was being given up to last year, end of last year, he will have exhausted everything. He was given up to June. Now, there is a new deadline, February, he will have exhausted everything. But for you to do politics in this country, for you to run for a presidential campaign, you need to have not anything less than 5 billion Kenya shillings to run for that.
Where do you get that money from? You're not responding to my question.
I mean, how do I explain that? How do I say that myself? I don't know where they get the money from. But if there were any suspicions of any illicit business, what would happen is that the institutions of government that exist, they're independent, they should be able to crack down and have to, and stop that.
All right.
We can't be complaining here every day that we don't know where this money is coming from, and yet we have not taken any action, and we are not taking any action. So the issue here is, if you have resources, yeah, it's good to share it with your countrymen. And once again, I tell you, Ruto is not the richest presidential candidate we have in Kenya today.
All right, Haman.
Maybe Gideon Moi probably would have more money than Ruto would have.
As a person or as a family?
As a person, as a family, as a clan, as a village. I mean, whatever level.
All right.
Maybe one day he also need to kind of embark on an empowerment program for the public, because as far as I know, it is not handout. It's not cash handout. It's empowerment program. If, for example, there are people who have...
Just hold on, Speaker. I need to hear from Haman here, because look, as you spend all this money, one would wonder if certain individuals who are Kenyans are very successful in their enterprises, Why can they share the trick with the rest of Kenyans to bring them up?
You know, I want to agree with him. Giving money is not an offense. It's not voter bribery. We are not in an election period. That will become voter bribery. Indeed, giving money, as he says, in that manner, is straight away voter bribery. The good intention notwithstanding. So giving money now is not voter bribery. It shows you are a generous man. The only problem you will have to deal with, the moment people associate you are campaigning with money, you could run into trouble. And that's where I see Ruto heading. The problem, as you say, really, is if you are able to give this money, like you say, even if you had a business and you are earning good profits, would you be able to throw around money like that? Money you have earned from your business? No man or woman will do that. So then that leaves a questions lingering. Because money you have earned properly, however much, you cannot throw it out like that. However well-intentioned you are, however generous you are. The point now that might be a problem to your camp is the taxman is duty-bound to come calling. If you splash money around like that, if KRA is not sleeping, they should descend on Ruto. Gentlemen, Your Excellency, our Deputy President, you are a very good man, you are very generous, but we are interested in knowing where you get all this money from. Because according to our records, the money you pay doesn't seem to correspond with your expenditure. And that's, the law allows the taxman to ask you those questions. Really, this is you on the ground. But in our books, this is you. So they can descend on Ruto now and tell Ruto, explain to us how you make money, or where is this money from which you draw money to give people? How come you don't share with us? Well, how come you don't give Caesar what belongs into Caesar?
How come these questions are
No, let me just finish. So that is one question. And in politics, don't rule out those things happening. The other thing is money laundering. If you are able to flash and throw out money around, in many countries, that is already raising red flags in terms of money laundering. So William Ruto, if he was in another country, and Kenya could become another country tomorrow, questions could be asked. And somebody could dig to find out where is this money you are throwing around coming from. You know, those are the considerations. And finally, you asked about Kondele. I have a YouTube channel, and I'm not advertising. And the last video I did was on that thing. And I say, first of all, it's dangerous for a leader to carry money in cash in crowds. It can cause a stampede. And where the deputy president is, and I also did say, there are 3 individuals in this country whose security is our security. Because if something happened to Raila Odinga, William Ruto, Uhuru Kenyatta, depending on where and by who and how it is perceived, this country could go up in flames. These are not ordinary people. You can't, these 3 belong in another league. So they must be very careful with their security, because their security is our security. So for the deputy president, and I'm answering you, for the deputy president to ignore advice from the intelligence, from the police, that place, don't go there. Even Uhuru changes his schedules upon advice. No leader in the world is allowed to ignore the intelligence because of politics. And finally, if you saw the deputy president on the rooftop on a car, and stones are being thrown, he's saying don't throw stones because they are being thrown, and the security are not forcing him inside that car, those people must be sacked or removed from that assignment. Because it is dangerous. And so for the deputy president, as I know you sit with him, tell him his security is our security. If those men in Kondele, do you know them? Those who eat ile ugali kabisa, those guys who can throw a stone this size, if one of them landed on his head, God forbid, do you think Kenya will be the same? Would it be the same? So don't try to show you are tough. And that's reckless, honestly. So I'm saying, next time, and don't also say, as I've seen some people saying, that Kondele now shows ODM is violence, Raila is violence. Do you know Kondele? Do you know Kondele?
Is it in Kenya?
If those guys had an assignment to stop the deputy president, do you know what will happen? Even the police can't manage them. You have seen it when there are riots. Kondele, you think if they had been told by Raila, for example, make sure Ruto doesn't come here, you think he would come there? Even the police will run away. They have done it before. They have put the police station under siege there, 2007. That is a bad place, and those are bad people. So a small incident, most likely, I'm not saying it is a case.
I'm not sure you want to say that they are bad people.
You know, bad in the sense, they are what you call bad boys. You know what I mean? That's a hotspot.
The views of
Now, but just hold on. Some that is very important.
I need to get the final word from...
It's very important to raise that.
Because some people may not get me right. Please.
Yes.
It is important for leaders to know, much as you are looking for politics, for power, and you want positions, think about this country. Utterances and actions that can plunge the country into chaos. Because if something happened to Ruto in Kisumu, I don't want to imagine what could happen.
Okay.
That's not good.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Honorable Mbui, because it appears that money will be such a serious issue in the 2022 election. And again, unfortunately, it will be unregulated because the house that you sit in, the National Assembly, kicked out the regulations on account that they came in out of time. And of course, IBC had to withdraw those spending limits. But is this one of the issues that One Kenya Alliance is facing as a challenge for them to be in a position to compete in a significant manner against the other camps?
Well, I would say if breaking the law, Article 64 of the Elections Act, which states that giving out money for any reason, even for political party, not party but political meetings, is illegal, then I think we could say that it is a challenge to us because we do not want to break the law. But having said that, I know that OKA principals and members have enough money to be able to roll out a campaign. The only thing we do not want to do is to teach the Kenyans that, you know, you have to be bribed in order for you to vote. Because what happens is that when people go and vote for the person who has bribed them, many chances they vote for the wrong people. And there are some people who give money and take that money back when they get elected. So I think for us, we want to do it differently. We want to just follow the law. We want to ensure that, you know, Kenyans do understand that the money that is being spent should be spent for certain things, but not just for handouts. Yes.
Oh, okay, all right. We're out of time. Let's take a look at the feedback.
But there's a point I wanted to raise.
For right of reply.
Yeah. But truly, Kenyans, we can't allow politicians to start marking their territories and see that this is my territory and I have my bad boys. And that is not going to be go zone for any other person. If we take on that route, it's going to be dangerous for our country. And I want the police, I want the human rights, I want IBC, I want all the commissions to start mapping out this and to start archiving all this information, everything that is happening, and not to excuse it away. But we can start marking territories and saying that this cannot come here. And I've seen some of the politicians saying, this is my town, this is my turf. I will ensure that nobody talks. I think what will happen if the other side also say the same thing? What will happen if the Eldoret people say?
You actually believe the Kondele chaos were organized by the opponents?
I mean, whether they were organized or they were spontaneous, we must discourage that. And police must crack down properly and seriously.
All right.
Whoever is organizing, wherever, in whichever way, we must get serious about this. Let's not excuse it away. Let's not smile it off. Let's not try to give an academic kind of theorizing about it. It's wrong. Let's call it as it is, and let us stop it.
All right. Political tolerance. Omonto Vickery is saying that Kenyans must resist the temptation of voting highest bidders, especially as those they entrusted with the leadership of this country in the last decade. Leaders are not elected to give tokens, run social welfare programs. It must be an economy that works for everyone. Chemai's Koril, for sure, these political handouts work. We were given 2.5 million by Ruto plus 1.5 million from his allies to make 4 million in E10 for boda industry. We divided kufika mashinani, personally nilipata 1,500 na nilieka motorbike yangu full tank and made 10,000 shillings. Isn't that help? Efo Kango, well, One Kenya Alliance is a political formation of equal partners with equal opportunities to lead it. within it are different political interests. Only Gideon Moi, Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, and Moses Wetangula have demonstrated the goodwill of One Kenya Alliance partnership. It's coming, well, he sort of insinuates that Musalia Mudavadi has not shown a desire to have the good interests. And Sam Masika, the speaker is saying the right thing. Politics is perceptional. Why are the One Kenya Alliance leaders meeting the president, if not to beg for endorsement? They should hold press conferences after and tell us what they discussed, or we will always speculate. Nakoti Mobimba, the standoff in One Kenya Alliance is between Wiper and ANC. Wetangula does not even want to vie. He's just dancing to the tune. Gideon is just an escort, but you all know he is with Raila and Uhuru. One Kenya Alliance will not hold. Then Jacob Abere from the word go, One Kenya Alliance was an amorphous group. It isn't going anywhere. Western group is headed to UDA. Wiper and Cockrell, Yumin Kanu, is aligning with ODM. I don't know whether that's true. Then One Kenya Alliance will split into several, and then ODM and UDA party will consume them. Someone like Mudavadi will definitely join the winning party. Baba Teddashi, between now and 2022, it's very difficult to change how Kenyans will vote. The only thing you can change is the why they will vote. All right, Speaker of Nyeri, John Kagusha, MP of Kathiani, Robert Mbui, and Herman Manyora, our political analyst, thank you all for making time for us to have this conversation. We'll continue to do so, asking questions as we ride towards 2022, that the Kenyan voter, yourself, will have to make that decision on who leads this country from the grassroots all the way to the highest office. So be keen on what's going on to make that decision. My name is Sam Gituku. See you again tomorrow. Up next is Sporty Monday, and Willis Raburu is here with his crew. Stay tuned.